Now, we ended last week's part 1 off with talking about Islands of Adventure. We started to get into that. Now, February 14th, which is about a month and some change ago. Yeah, because it's March 19th. A month and some change ago during Black History Month, praise God, which was actually on Valentine's Day, February 14th, we went to Islands of Adventure. What my family do when we go to theme parks, we go early in the morning. We do not wait until the evening or afternoon to finally get to the park. No, we like wake up at 6 a.m., 5:30 a.m., take showers, put on lotion, clothes, everything, get prepared, and we go and we, may stop somewhere and get something to eat real quick for breakfast, and then we go to the park and we're standing in that rope drop line. I don't like to wait until the afternoon, evening to get to a thing. No, we need to get there early in the morning, run to the rides that normally would get crowded, which is what we did. Because every time we do that, we can knock out 3 major rides in an hour. In an hour or maybe like 45 minutes, you'll knock out 3 big major rides, which is actually what we did. I drove there. When we go to Orlando, for those of y'all who know Orlando and know the Orlando area, y'all will know where International Drive is. International Drive is like that long strip of road that got everything on it. Hotels, restaurants, many parks, the Orlando Eye, which I've been on and love, fun spot, restaurant, like it got everything. Every time we go to Orlando and we're going to Disney World, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, anywhere, we're staying at that Rosin Inn on that strip. But for some reason, it was expensive. So my brother, instead of us staying there, we stayed at a golf club resort. We stayed at this like golf club resort. It was very nice. The hotel, it was nice. It had like multiple rooms and doors. The pool was like amazing. It had a tennis court. It had lakes and everything. I'm like, oh wow, we really, up and grinding. We moving on up like the Jeffersons. And we stayed there. I loved it. And then, we stayed there for a little bit. And then I think the next day or two, we went to Islands of Adventure. I've never been on Velocicoaster. If y'all watch the previous episode, I did a episode with Adriana. And we talked about because the last time I've been to Islands of Adventure was for Grad Bash, which was last year. We were literally going to get on Velocicoaster, but it was too long of a wait and one of our friends didn't feel like getting on it, so we just all left. I really wanted to do Velocicoaster, so I said when we went to Islands of Adventure, when we just went, I was like, I'm gonna get on, and that's exactly what we did. We got to the park at like 7:20, 7:10, something like that. We parked and we went to Islands of Adventure, and mind you, the park opens at 8. So we stood in the rope drop line until 8 o'clock, and as soon as that rope dropped, we ran from the Dr. Seuss land all the way to Velocicoaster. Now, mind you, it was not crowded. I thought it would be crowded since it was Valentine's Day, but it was not crowded for some reason. I don't know why. It was not crowded. It was really not that many people. Like the major rides that always be crowded was not crowded for some reason. I'm like, oh wow, we really struck it good. So if y'all want to go and it not be crowded, I would say go on Valentine's Day. It was not crowded. For some odd reason, it was not crowded. Maybe we just got lucky. Maybe the Lord blessed us. Hallelujah. I knew what it did. I knew what Velocicoaster did. Now, mind you, my brother, he didn't really too much know what Velocicoaster did. I mean, he kind of saw it, but he didn't really know. So when we was in line, for those of y'all who've been on Velocicoaster, y'all know there's that one part in the queue line where you can actually see the roller coaster shoot by. So when my brother saw that, he was like, that's the roller coaster? I'm like, yeah. He was like, how fast do this go? I'm like, oh, I don't know. The whole time I knew everything that this did. Even when we was walking up to Velocicoaster, you know how you can see like the track above you and how it's like just hanging upside down. He's like, that's the roller coaster? I'm like, yeah. Let's get on. Growing up, my brother was always was the one who forced me to get on roller coasters and tried to force me to get on rides. There was a time in my life where I was petrified to get on the Crazy Mouse at the fair. I was so scared to get on I did not like roller coasters. I could not stand them. But because of him forcing me, peer pressuring me to get on roller coasters, now look how the tables have turned. Now I'm getting on roller coasters he's afraid to get on. I remember one time, this was 2022. We went to Busch Gardens. My brother, he always wanted to do Sheikah, or did he do Sheikah? I don't think he did Sheikah before. He always wanted to do Sheikah or something like that, and he was scared. I remember we was gonna go on Sheikah, but we kind of both like chickened out, and my mom and my brother low-key were like trying to like make fun of me, being like, oh, you scared to get on Sheikah, or you too scared or whatnot. And my brother was the main one, like, oh, you scared, you scared, you scared. And I looked at him, I said, mother, hold my fanny pack. I'm like, let's go. Come on, let's go. Because we were walking away from Sheikah, and they were kind of taunting me. And when he was taunting me, I'm like, oh, really? Hold my fanny pack, mother. Let's go. Let's get in line. The way how his face changed, the way how his face kind of like shriveled up. I'm like, yeah. And the whole time in line, he just praying and scared. I'm like, what you scared for? What you scared for? I thought you was challenging me. What you scared for? So that's kind of what happened on Velocicoaster. He was, a little bit scared, asking questions. I can tell when my brother's afraid of a roller coaster when he start asking questions, how fast it will go, what it do. I just be like, oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know what it do. I don't know. So it's funny how the tables have turned. Because you was the one who was trying to force me to get on roller coasters. Now look. Now I'm making you get on stuff you scared of. Look at there. Look at there. I was very excited to get on Velocicoaster. Actually, I have a picture I'm going to put right here. Now, as you can see in the picture, my hand was like this. No, I was not trying to hold my scream in. My nose was running. Because the coaster was going so fast, so much wind was going up my nostrils, my nose was running the whole ride, so I just had to keep wiping my mouth. I washed my hands when I got off. Don't try me like that. But I had to keep wiping my nose because it was running. I didn't have tissue in my pocket, so I had to do what I had to do. And mind you, like I said, this is the first thing we got on. Like, as soon as the rope dropped for the park to open to the general public, we ran straight to Velocicoaster and got in line. So we getting on the ride. I knew everything that the ride did, but I was like in the queue line, I was not afraid. But when I got on the ride and it started moving, I'm like, wait a minute. Am I really about to do this? Am I really about to do this? For those of y'all who've been on Velocicoaster, when you go out that station and you make that left, and you go in that tunnel and you stop at the launch and it's getting ready to launch you and the music and everything going on, I'm like, Lord have mercy, Jesus, what have I done? What have I done? Me and my brother are just like, what have we done? And then it's too late. It launches you and you just go. And I remember I was doing so good. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is fun. And I knew in the back of my head, I'm like, I know this second launch is coming up soon. As we're traversing through the rocks and stuff, I'm like, I know this second part is coming up. And that's what I'm afraid of. This little first part, I'm fine. But this second part with this big hi-hat drop down, I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know it's coming. And as soon as we bent that corner going down into the tunnel, I'm like, God, be with me, please. And we just shoot off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is faster than what I thought. And then we go up and I'm like, oh my God. And I had my eyes open the whole time. I could just see us going up so fast, like this going up. And then you go over the top and you like out of your seat. But for some reason, I'm not scared. I'm actually like excited. I was like shaking my arms and everything, but I'm fine. I loved it. And when the ride was over, I loved it. I wanted to get back on. And we did. We got back on later that night. We did an early morning ride and we did a night ride. But yeah, Velocicoaster for my first time, I would have to say is an amazing roller coaster. I would recommend anybody to ride it. I loved it. And this is coming from a person who never liked roller coasters when I was younger. Now I love them. So if y'all like roller coasters, get on Velocicoaster. It's really worth it. It is really worth it. It is really worth the hype. And also, I did Hagrid's. Finally, I did Hagrid's. Because I remember back in 2019 for my 14th birthday, because I turned 14. For my 14th birthday, we went to Islands of Adventure. And that's when Hagrid's had first opened. And I was planning on getting on it. However, the line was extremely long. It was like a 300-something minute wait. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not waiting for that ride. 300 minutes? No. Absolutely not. Once we had got off Velocicoaster, we went through the the Poseidon Land that hasn't been open in a long time. I remember walking through the Poseidon Fury walk-through ride attraction. I loved it. I don't know why they closed it. I actually loved it. I guess it wasn't as popular, but we went to Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure. It was a little long. It was like, I think it was 95 or 100 minutes. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. So instead of us going on Hagrid's, we went to Forbidden Journey. Now, mind you, Forbidden Journey, the last time I've been on, I couldn't really remember. I mean, I knew what it did and I remember some parts of the ride, but it wasn't as vivid for me to remember. When I got on this time, it kind of surprised me because I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know it did all this. I forgot it did all this. You know what I'm saying? And then the animatronics being so close. And then that one scene with the spider, I got arachnophobia. I had to close my eyes. I couldn't do it. Forbidden Journey scares me. So I know I'm going to be petrified on Monsters Unchained when I get to go. And I'm going to talk about that a little later. So after we got off Forbidden Journey, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had, where did we go? I think we stayed in the Harry Potter section. My brother got butterbeer like 3 times in that whole day. The single riders line was not open. Mind you, I've never been in a single riders line for a roller coaster or an attraction ever in a theme park. I've never did it. We decided to go in the single riders line. I mean, it was very short. It had just opened, so it wasn't really anybody in the line. I never knew how a single riders line worked. I never knew. Until I got in that line, I'm like, oh, so this is how it works. So whenever a party has an uneven number of people, they'll add you to that party. I'm like, oh, that's kind of pushing social. You know what I'm saying? That's pushing you to be social with people. I don't like to be forced to be social with people. However, I was put with this family, and it was me and a teenager boy. We looked like we could be the same age. He may have been a little younger than me, I think, but we were kind of like both in the same age bracket. And we got on Hagrid's. He sat in the motorbike seat, and I sat in the little seat. And we were talking, we were having fun on the ride. And you know what? I would recommend y'all, if y'all are going to a theme park by yourself and you want to socialize and make friends, go in the single rider line. Go in the single riders line. You will definitely meet people and talk to people and have fun. So I got on Hagrid's for the first time. Loved it. Loved it. I've always wanted to get on, and I can finally say I got on and I loved it. I really did love it. I don't know why every time at Islands of Adventure, but for some reason, Kong the ride is always a long wait time. I'm always in my head, I'm thinking to myself, like, that ride, as much as I love it, it ain't really all that. Like, it's not all that for this ride to be like 100 minutes, 85-minute waits. Because when we went in the line, I could have sworn, I think the wait time, if I'm not mistaken, was like 65 minutes, something like that. I think it was like 65 minutes. Even though we only spent like 45 minutes, but it was like a 65 minute wait. And I'm just like, why is Kong the ride always so long? Like, it's not even, I love Kong the ride, but it's not all that. Like, it's not all that to be that long. Like, you just driving through in a truck, watching screens. Like, it's not that, and it's not that long of a ride. It's only like a 2-minute ride, something like that, 2.5-minute ride. The ride is not all that to be this long. People really, I hate people. And then we did Ripsaw Falls. My mom finally got on Ripsaw Falls. She was scared, but she finally got on. And she said she loved it. And mind you, we stayed at the park the whole day. Like, we went in the morning when it opened, and we stayed until it closed. Like, by the time we got back to the hotel, we was tired. We was tired. Our feet were sore. We were tired. But that's what we like to do. We paid this much money. We gonna spend that much time in the park. Paid all this money for it. We gonna spend that much time in the park. We ended the day off in Dr. Seuss, and we rode the Dr. Seuss ride. Actually, I think is it right here? Before we left, we rode the Dr. Seuss what's it called? The Cat in the Hat ride. And in the gift shop, I brought this. It's a little bracelet. It says Daniel has my name on it, and you just put it on your arm. Like that. Now, speaking of Forbidden Journey and Monsters Unchained and all that stuff, Epic Universe is soon to be open, right? People have been going to the park and have been getting previews of the park. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little jealous. Just a little jealous. Because I really want to see this part, but that's all right. That's all right. All right. Everybody has been saying that Monsters Unchained is one of, if not the best dark ride to ever exist in a theme park. And that makes me terrified of this ride. Reason being is because Universal, when they were doing like the releasing each land and what it has to offer, the lady in the video literally said that Monsters Unchained is their scariest ride they ever made. And for people to say that they cried in the pre-show, they cried on the ride, the animatronics are in your face, it's intense, it's scary. I'm petrified. I'm scared of Forbidden Journey. I'm scared of that ride. The claw machine almost have you upside down, and the stuff coming all in your face, and the monsters, not the monsters, but like the spiders and the ghost looking stuff. That ride scares me. So for them to say that makes that look like a tester, I'm petrified of this ride. I'm scared. I'm getting on it, but I'm scared. And people have been saying that Isle of Berk is nice, and people have been saying that Celestial Park is just beautiful, and Nintendo Land is beautiful, and people have been saying that the Ministry of Magic is just beautiful. So I'm really excited for this park to open. Am I going when it opens? No, I'm most likely just going to wait about maybe a year or so until this park, is opened and the crowd and stuff dies down, because I know that this year, as a matter of fact, this whole year, once it opens until December, is going to be hectic. So maybe next year I'll go, or maybe. Actually, I don't think I'm going later this year, because I think I'm going somewhere else. So maybe next year I might consider going. Maybe next year January, next year February, maybe this year November, I don't know. But as of right now, I am not going. However, I am excited to see these POVs and YouTube videos that people are going to post about the park. I will say that. And mind you, I rode past Epic Universe when we had just went to Islands of Adventure. We drove past there. To see it in person was just like, wow. No, I did not get like a good view of it, but I definitely got a good view. Not a good view, but a good view of it. And it's big. I will say that in person it's a lot more like spread out than I thought it would be. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually like humongous. The hotel was big. I'm like, oh wow, this is bigger than I knew it was a big hotel, but I'm like, this is much bigger in person. And then when we went to Islands of Adventure and saw like the map, the model that they have, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually very big. Like this is a big model, and like I can see everything and see the little. I'm like, wow. Oh Lord, I'm here somewhere. But I think they're gonna have a way with the bridge and stuff, some kind of way they can take you back to the highway. Look at it, y'all. Look at it. Look at it. Now, if y'all have watched the Grammys, y'all probably have saw the winners and nominations and the performances and everything. We saw Sabrina Carpenter perform and win an award. We saw Chaperone perform and win an award. We saw Charlie XCX perform, win an award. We saw Lady Gaga perform and win an award. Doechii perform, winning an award. We saw Teddy Swings. We saw a lot. We saw Cynthia Erivo, Ray. We saw a lot of people perform and win awards on that night. I love Janelle Monáe's performance. I loved it. Beyonce won Best Country Album of the year, and she won Album of the Year.
The Grammy goes to...
Oh, God.
Cowboy Carter.
Oh, my God.
I'd like to thank and acknowledge and praise all of the firefighters for keeping us safe. I just feel very full and very honored. It's been many, many years. And just want to thank the Grammys, every songwriter, every collaborator, every producer, all of the hard work. I want to dedicate this to Miss Martell.
Oh, my God. Oh. not Taylor, Jay-Z. And people are saying that Beyonce does not deserve Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter. And you have a mixture of explanations. You have some people are saying that she just flat out didn't deserve it and it should have went to other artists, or some of her fans are saying that they loved it, but she should have gotten Album of the Year for Lemonade, Renaissance, Beyonce self-titled. You know what I'm saying? This year's Grammys, first of all, for some reason, I feel like was just amazing. This year's Grammys, for me, did not feel like they were awarding artists just to award artists, or just to award artists based off of popularity and streams and numbers. It did not feel like that. And I don't know if other people felt like that, but for some reason, to me, this year's Grammys did not feel like we're going to award the artists who had the biggest streams, the biggest this, the biggest that, whatever. This year's Grammys actually felt like they were rightfully giving out awards to the talent. And I'm not saying that in a shady way. I'm not trying to be shady when I say that. I'm just saying in general, I feel like they were not awarding based off of streams and numbers. I feel like they were awarding based off of impact and talent and stuff like that. For Cowboy Carter to be not the most streamed album in that category, probably, I think it was not the most streamed in that category, was it? I can't remember. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. It deserved Album of the Year because of the message, the history behind it. Because mind you, Grammy Album of the Year is really awarded to albums that make an impact and have a message and have a story. Not just albums that are big in streaming numbers and have a lot of listens and playbacks and stuff. It really is mostly based off of the talent in it, the history in it, the message in it, stuff like that. Cowboy Carter was probably, if not the album that had the most history, messages behind it. If you actually do your research on things she said, things in the title, things in names and stuff, this album is literally flooded with history, flooded with just facts, flooded with knowledge. Even down to the title of the album itself. A lot of people don't know that Cowboy Carter is not titled Cowboy Carter just because her last name is Carter. No, Cowboy Carter is titled Cowboy Carter because the first, I believe it was the first family to invent country music was the Carter family. And people don't know that. So everything about this album is literally just flooded in history, literally down to the title of the album itself. So it's like when you have an album like that in a category like this, to me, it wouldn't be surprising as to why it won. Now, people are saying that Album of the Year should have gone to Lemonade, it should have gone to Beyonce self-titled, it should have gone to Renaissance. I agree, it should have. I believe that Cowboy Carter is one of, if not Beyonce's most filled with knowledge, most historical impact, most factual album she's ever made. And don't get me wrong, she's done that in the past, but this album literally is just flooded with history, flooded with knowledge, flooded with facts, flooded with things. You can literally go to each song and just do research and just find stuff you never knew. This album literally has taught me stuff about black people in country music that I never knew. This album has literally introduced me to country artists that I love, aka Shabuzi, that I never really knew. So for people to say that this one was not as deserving as the previous ones doesn't make sense to me, because the other ones, yes, they were filled with history, yes, they were filled with knowledge, but this one had the most out of all of them. I'm not saying that none of the other albums, as far as hers and the other ones in this category, weren't deserving of Album of the Year, because they were. All of them were. However, this one had the most historical, knowledge-filled impact out of all of them. So for me personally, I understand why this one won, and I understand why she won Album of the Year. I do not like the fact how people literally tried to just because if y'all remember, Kendrick won for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. I hate how people have tried to be like, oh, Sabrina deserved it, Charlie deserved it, Billy deserved it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do think Billy should have won at least something because she did have a decent year. But I ain't gonna lie, 2024 was a stiff competition. You can't lie. It was a stiff competition. So I do think Billy should have at least won something. What she should have won, I don't know. But something at least, but I don't know. This year, well, not this year, but last year was a very stiff competition in categories. But I don't like the fact how people are literally trying to be like, oh, Kendrick should have not won for Not Like Us, because like some people are just like, oh, you know, that song was popular, but I didn't really listen to it as much as Espresso or not Hit Me Hard, it's off, Birds of a Feather and stuff like that. Shut up. Be quiet. Be quiet. You are not, and I'm sorry, gonna sit up here and tell me that Not Like and as much I love Sabrina, I love Billy, I love Charlie, I love them all, but you will not sit up here, and I love Kendrick, but you will not sit up here and try to make it seem like Not Like Us was not the biggest song of 2024. You will not do that. You will not do that. You will not do that. Not like, just because you ain't listened to it don't mean nobody else was too. Y'all will not sit up here and try to make it seem like Not Like Us was not it was very much deserving. So with that being said, I understand completely why he won in both categories, because Not Like Us was literally the biggest song of 2024. Don't try me. And then some people were like, oh, how did he win? He won for a diss song and he won. Are you dumb? Diss songs have won in the past before. People have won Grammys for diss songs in the past. Years and years ago. So don't even try to make that excuse, oh, but this was a diss song. How did he win for a diss? People did it before. Now let's get into Doechii.
And the winner is...
Ooh, wait.
C for me.
Ooh, Doechii.
Alligator Bite.
Doechii. Yeah. Ooh, she got her first Grammy. Yes. Oh, I'm so happy. I am so happy.
And God told me that I
Yes.
would be rewarded.
Yes.
And that He would show me
Hallelujah.
just how good it can get.
A Florida artist is winning a Grammy. I'm like, wow, I loved it. Especially a dark-skinned black woman from Florida. I loved it. There are some people saying that Doechii is an industry plant. There are some people saying that Doechii just came out of nowhere. There are some people that are saying that Doechii did not deserve a Grammy for Best Rap Album of the Year. And you know,
Be nice.
I'm finding it.
It take you that long?
It does. It takes me this long. I'm finding it. For people to really have the nerve to sit up here and try to make it seem like Doechii is an industry plant. I don't know who y'all listen to. I don't know what rock y'all live under, but y'all will not sit up here and try to paint Doechii as an industry plant. Doechii, to me, is one of, if not the most talented people we have right now, of our generation that we have right now. Doechii can sing, she can rap, she writes, she can dance, she can perform, she can act. With the people that y'all listen to, gonna sit up here and say that she's an industry plant? Are y'all... It's so bizarre, because we have yet in a long time to have an actual artist with talent. And I love where this music industry is going, because for a long time, the music industry has been about mediocrity. Now we're moving into a space in the music industry where if you want to be mainstream and you want to be an artist, you have to have the talent. Because there was a time where you could just do whatever and people push you and whatever. Now you gotta actually have the talent. And we have an artist like Doechii who is showing y'all she has the talent. She has the versatility. But y'all want to sit up here and say she's an industry plant because y'all obviously don't know what success look like. When people who are genuinely talented and have the talent and the skill to do what they do at their craft, that's what happens. When you see them rise like this and start to get pushed into the mainstream and media, that's called the label doing their job. That's what a label is supposed to do. Y'all have gotten so accustomed to these mediocre artists who barely don't do anything. But when you actually see talent that's actually getting pushed by a label, which is the label doing their job and doing what they're supposed to do, y'all want to question it and be like, well, who is this? Just because Doechii doesn't make the typical mainstream music that y'all have been used to for so long does not mean she's an industry plant. Just because she does not do the standard of what female rappers are supposed to do does not mean that she's an industry plant. Just because she does not look like the standard of what industry rappers are supposed to look like. And what even is that? That doesn't make sense to me. What is that? Does not mean that she's an industry plant. I bet some of y'all right now did not know that if y'all know that song back in 2023, What It Is, that song, What It Is, that was blowing up on TikTok, What It Is, that song, that was her. I bet some of y'all didn't know back in 2022, that song, So Persuasive, that was her as well. Along with many other songs that y'all probably knew, but just didn't know who the artist was. It was her. So no, Doechii is not, and for me personally, I have been a fan of hers for a while now, and just seeing her and watching her, this does not surprise me. The amount of support that she's getting right now does not surprise me, because like I said, I have been following her and I have watched her, growth in music and have been listening to her music. So this whole her blowing up in the mainstream and winning a Grammy does not scream industry plant to me. It does not scream scam or whatever to me. It just screams somebody with talent is finally getting recognized. And I'm glad that the music industry is moving in a lane where they're actually showcasing artists with talent, such as Doechii, Kendrick, Doja, people like that. I pray that Doechii continue, because I could really go off right now, but I'm not. I pray that Doechii continues to have success and continues to have a prosperous career and a fluent and amazing and skillful and talented career. I cannot wait until her album comes out because I do want to hear what that sounds like. So I hope that y'all go, to Spotify or go to the store and actually buy good music and fill your ears with that so you can understand Doechii better, instead of listening to what y'all are listening to. Okay. Thank y'all for watching part 2 of the Black Power Podcast, episode 7, called The Drama. And trust me, we got a lot more to cover in part 3. This was only just the beginning. First of all, everybody homophobic, so all y'all dumb. But I'm talking specifically to my black people because I'm black. Kendrick is not performing for an audience. Kendrick is not performing to get the audience attention. He's not doing that. That's what y'all are used to. Y'all are used to these attention-grabbing, mediocre artists. I hate people. Shut up. Y'all are miserable. You're depressed. And you don't understand real rap. You don't understand the culture. You don't understand nothing. Y'all want to say that Kendrick and Doechii. Ooh, this Caucasian man. I don't know who his name was. But for him to go on this podcast and say that Doechii did not deserve to be with Lauryn Hill because Doechii didn't have enough albums to have a co-sign from Lauryn Hill. Let me tell you something. First of all,
You think you just fell out of a coke? You think you just fell? You think you just fell